up there, we're going to open. That's right, that boy sounds so good. Follow him at the podium. I don't know what it is. I talk to you. African affirmation. Charmaine is also on the prayer. We'll go affirmation. Because we don't start the meeting without asking seniors permission.
You said African affirmation.
Well, can you do the opening and ask the seniors for permission to start?
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, then she'll do the
I'll be talking to myself. I'm the oldest one here.
I know. You're not the oldest, but you're here.
All right.
That's a beautiful thing in itself, being here still. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
Let's go. We're going live.
Good afternoon. Amen. Amen.
We're going live.
All God's children are gathered together here. It's all right. It's all right. In the African tradition, I'd like besides me, to get permission to start this meeting by our elders. If we could get consent from the elders to begin the meeting, please stand.
Our elders, please stand. If you consider yourself an elder,
What you feel, brother? We want to honor our elders. Let us give our elders a big hand. Show them some love, show them some love. We have your permission to start the meeting?
You have my permission.
Amen. God bless you. Amen. Amen. Somebody came late.
Yeah.
All right.
okay. It's Charmaine. Reverend Charmaine. Reverend Doctor. Reverend Dr. Charmaine.
Doctor, I guess I was going to do something I'm not sure.
Sure, let's bow our heads, please. Eternal Father God, creator of heaven and earth, we come to you today, thanking you for the opportunity to be here, to see each other, to fellowship. To Heavenly Father, we pray for those who are participating in this forum. Lord, those who are running for political office, Lord, guide them and protect them through this democratic process. To Heavenly Father, we pray for those who are in Haiti, those who are entering the United States, those who have entered through airplanes through Afghanistan. Lord, put your arms of protection around them. And of course, Lord, we pray for our children and our schools and importantly, our city and our state. Lord, we ask for healing. We ask for kindness. And most importantly, we ask for forgiveness, that we love you first and that we love everyone else second. And we thank you for the ability and the fortitude to have a vaccine to help us from this virus, protect us and guide us. And to this we give you all the thanks and all the glory. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Amen.
Happy Saturday, everybody.
Happy Saturday.
Thank you. I'd like to start a day, the afternoon, with a positive thought, and have said this is positive to me. I need a mic.
Your outside voice, Tia.
You know
how to do it.
My outside voice. I want to say welcome to all of you who have come through the rain and the snow and the sun and everything outside. It started off really bad this morning, but the sun is shining. And I am very glad that you all are here. I want to let you all know, some people say they always see me, and you always say Cole Fountain. Where's the other half of the coat? She's in this room.
That's right.
Reggie Crawford. He's a co-founder of Live Research. And this year we are 29 years old. Next year we will be 30, and we're going to celebrate with a luncheon and all that good stuff. But today we've taken the opportunity to have the candidates to come so that you can speak with them, ask them your own questions. We have moderators here who also will be asking questions. And this is to help you decide who you should election is very important, and strangely enough, we have 3 proposals on the ballot, not one. The proposal for reparations, we have been hearing about, and I'm expecting Keith Williams, who has been sharing much information about it, to be on the various broadcasts that I host. And we're going to start with the 3 proposals. Keith Williams is here for reparations. We have former Senator Bert Johnson. Is he here? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Okay. To tell us about one of the proposals that's been a secret. And we're also looking for Attorney Todd Perkins to tell us about another one of the proposals that's been a secret. It makes you wonder what goes on at the Election Commission. Did anybody in here get an election connection leaflet? Nobody got one. Okay. Well, do you want to, former Senator Bert Johnson, you want to come up to the lectern and talk about the proposals there?
And we'll receive former Senator Bert Johnson's man.
Greetings, good afternoon.
Excuse me just a moment. I meant to introduce the moderators who would include Ken Coleman and Michelle Roden for this afternoon for the questioning. And that's
Greetings, you all. It's good to see you all. And Theo, thank you for today's invitation. Microphone. Is that what you're saying to me? Oh, okay. All right. Well, it's good to be with you all today, and I'm very thankful that there's still a forum where there are candidates for office who get an opportunity to engage the community. This, albeit not the best attended event maybe in the city of Detroit, is probably one of the most important events in Detroit, because anytime candidates and the community can get together to get an understanding, things have an opportunity to go well. And Hood Research has been doing that for quite some time, and there's so many soldiers and warriors and people from yesteryear and current day politics and affairs in the room that I know this is an opportunity for something to go right. There's a lot going wrong in our city. You don't need me to editorialize that. People are feeling it, they're experiencing that, and they understand that. And the goodness that still remains in the city of Detroit. And I'm here to testify that there's still a good Detroit, a Detroit that people want to see thrive and be fruitful and watch it do well amongst the other cities across this country that people know mean something to the United States. Detroit is still worth fighting for, so thank you all for being here. I have the opportunity today to speak about a proposal that is on the ballot, Proposal E, which is, and I'm going to say it in its very scientific form, and then I'm going to say it in English. Proposal E is for the entheogenic use of plant medicine, specifically psilocybin mushrooms, for their therapeutic use. And so let me say that in English. It means that people who look like us, traditionally indigenous to this country, have an opportunity for the first time in the city of Detroit to, if you pass Proposal E by voting yes, and I'm a proponent of Proposal E, then you're saying you want Prop E and the entheogenic use of psilocybin mushrooms, AKA plant medicine, to be the lowest law enforcement priority in the city of Detroit for the Detroit Police Department. You're saying that for the personal possession, I'm not talking about somebody who could, you show up at their house and they got a garage full of psilocybin mushrooms. I'm saying for the personal possession and small individual manufacture, but under a therapeutic model. That means with a therapist, someone that can administer and can watch as you consume for the specific purposes, if you did not know, of remediating addiction, all addiction, crack cocaine, heroin, alcohol, dealing with those who have come away from traumatic incidents and certain stress. So for veterans specifically, for post-traumatic stress syndrome, for the alleviation of anxiety, for the remediation of depression. How many of you all know someone or are yourselves or have been depressed? I can't be the only one in this room that's happened to. Suicide is at an all-time high in our community these days. What's my point? If you are for Proposal E, you believe that there's an opportunity to come away from the pharmaceutical drugs that are put in our community. CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, they're the biggest dope boys, dope women in America. And if they move into your community, they're not intent on selling you Campbell's soup. They believe that there's a specific pharmaceutical opportunity for them to marry you with their drugs. I'm not against CVS. I'm not against Rite Aid. I'm not against Walgreens. But I am for your ability to manage for yourself a particular natural, non-habit forming opportunity for you to come away from some of the worst things that are happening in our community. And this proposal is put forward by a gentleman who looks just like you and me. His name is Robert Shoemake. He came to me, he talked about it, and I didn't understand it. I really didn't. But as is traditional, I did my deep dive. I started looking all across the country and frankly across the world. And these natural plant medicine remedies are the ways, not some of the ways, but they are the ways that our people have been able to heal and cure themselves without, and there are lawyers in the room, without the tortious interference of the American government and the American pharmaceutical industry running our lives. And so Proposal E is on the ballot, and we're asking for a yes vote. We are asking that you understand that this is not about the wild, wild west that we have seen maybe heaped on Detroit with respect to the way marijuana has been dealt with. This is under a specific therapeutic model. That means that people will have the opportunity to have a therapist administer it in small microdoses in a specific regimen to go after a particular problem. This will not be something that will be sold at gas stations. There won't be a bunch of dispensaries, and I'm not down on that kind of stuff. I'm just talking about the differences. Different doesn't mean deficient, it's just different. But this is not marijuana. This is plant medicine that is absolutely going to be looked after under a therapeutic model. So we're asking for your yes support, your yes vote, and to tell all your family and friends to do exactly the same. I don't know that there is any real competition for us in the market, but I'm certain that someone has an opinion that differs from mine. If there are any people who have any questions, Theo, I'm happy to take them. Otherwise, I'll thank you and take my seat. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yep, if I can, let me see if I can read it to you. I'm going to tell you exactly how it appears. But we're going to be mailing, we're going to be talking to people in the community. We want people to be educated. We don't want folks to have to search for this on their own and try to make their own sense of it. As it will appear on the ballot, it says, entheogenic plants ballot proposal. Shall the voters of the city of Detroit adopt an ordinance to the 2019 Detroit City Code that would decriminalize to the fullest extent permitted under Michigan law the personal possession and therapeutic use of entheogenic plants by adults and make the personal possession and therapeutic use of entheogenic plants by adults the city's lowest law enforcement priority. This has been ratified and passed in the city of Ann Arbor. It has happened in Oakland, California. There are other cities that are undertaking the same ballot measure. And this is a decriminalization effort. I want you to understand that. This is not legalization. Decriminalization means that you take the police stigma and the element of crime reduction from their perspective out of the mix. Legalization means that you go against what is probably a current law and you legitimize something by making it legal. This is not that. Under the federal statute, it would still be illegitimate and it would still be on the schedule as a Schedule 1 as a controlled substance. This is one of the first steps you take toward eventual legitimization by a legalization effort. So this is decriminalization. Hold on. It is a hallucinogenic in its natural state, but as a in a microdose scenario, it is not a hallucinogenic that ever becomes addictive, and even in its traditional hallucinogenic state, it has a non-addictive quality. So this is not something that you can overconsume and that kind of thing. And people who have utilized mushrooms for years, for centuries, will all testify to the fact that, albeit a hallucinogenic, it is not dangerous in its hallucinogenic form. I hope that answers your question. Anyone else? Thank you all. Have a great day.
Let's receive. Thank you so much, former Senator Bert Johnson. Give him a hand. Oh, one more question. Okay.
My name is Bert Johnson, B-E-R-T Johnson. You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for being here. We're going to keep the program going. We have our next presenter on deck, as the baseball term goes, and he is a great learned attorney in Metropolitan Detroit. He is Todd Perkins, and he will tell us a little bit more about Proposal S. Attorney Todd Perkins, give him a hand.
Thank you. Good afternoon. God is good, isn't he? We are the most spiritual people, but seem to be the most persecuted people, right? And I find this out in this battle that we have for reparations. We even fight against ourselves for something that we should be entitled to. And it was just a little bit of backstory. How I got involved in reparations was, even though I was a history major in college and went to a pretty decent school, you never talked about that, and that wasn't fed to us. And this conversation came to me from, everybody knows Keith Williams, who's at the Democratic Black Caucus, and Alexis Ramsey, one of his vice chairs. They were talking about Evanston, Illinois, and that it's a reality there. Something that I thought was at one point in time fanciful and just, well, fantasy, could be a reality here. So when they brought that issue to us, recognizing, tacking this not from H.R. 40, which was John Conyers' dream, and living it, but to do it on a local level. Why not us control our own environment? Although this is a majority black city, we're still not in control. But yet we're the ones who vote, and we're the ones who should vote. I guarantee you all the people in here are going to vote. So if nothing else, just carrying this message to you so that you can carry it to others is the way that we have to bring the message, although we do have a mailer coming out. So what you have is a situation in which we recognize in the city of Detroit, you'll have to, in order for our major theme and our major goal is to do things on our own. That's the only way we get things done, and that we own our own. And as a history major, I have my own beliefs about the civil rights movement. It was more economic than it was equality. They just wanted our economy to be infused into their economy so that they could continue to disenfranchise us, give us a check. And look what's happened. Now, where we were a predominantly, well, I won't say predominantly, where we had all black businesses when I grew up in the 70s, look at us now. We're employees. And jobs aren't bad. But we do want to have that aspect of our society revived. So reparations, what is reparations? It's repair. It's nothing more than repair. And if no one knows, every sector of society, cultural, racial, other than African Americans, have been in America have been given reparations. The reluctance to, my belief is the reluctance to give us reparations is that it will be an acknowledgement by white America that we've been done wrong. I don't think that anyone can disagree with that, but they want to say, well, I wasn't a slave. My parents weren't slave owners. I'm not a slave owner, nor were my grandparents. But the ball started rolling back then, and we never got a chance to catch up. We've never even had an opportunity to get square. And if you listen to the former vice president, he says that systemic discrimination doesn't exist now. So we all know that's not the case. You know, that's the reason why when you fill out an application and you got a daughter named Tamika, she's less likely to get a call back than somebody named Mary. So those are the insidious ways in which it still permeates. So what happened? So we have reparations, a reality here. It's, you know, I always speak things into existence. It's going to pass. The polling indicates that it's going to pass. But what we had in this situation, and what I want y'all to get angry as hell about, is that they wanted to take at least one portion of it off. So it's Proposal R and Proposal S. And don't forget, and don't let them think, and don't let them divide and conquer us. We are all united in one. So Proposal R is the proposal from City Council that is asking, it's fairly simple to understand. It's asking the people, should the City Council create a reparations task force, essentially creating a mechanism by which reparations can be implemented. Now, our aspect of it is Proposal S. Proposal S essentially removes one portion of Section 12-101 of the city charter that would allow citizens of the city of Detroit to create future ordinances or legislation, laws, to appropriate money. So what am I saying? That Proposal S is to empower the citizenry. And now, don't get me wrong, other people say, well, that's fanciful, because that might be, if you affect the budget, that might be unconstitutional. Well, you know something, I call it a ground game. One step at a time. You know, it's been 500 years that they've been doing what we've done to us. It's not going to be fixed overnight. But again, to empower ourselves with that, it's the first step. So what does it mean? Now, if City Council moves forward with Reparations Task Force, if they move forward, if they move forward with putting together and implementing reparations in the city of Detroit in a meaningful way, then, you know, we don't necessarily have to weaponize Proposal S. And when I do mean weaponize, I do mean taking your time, taking your vote, and bringing it to them and doing it yourself. Like I said, I started. I was an English a history major, but you write a lot of reports. You start off with the theme is that you're doing it yourself, and I'm back there right now. Because sometimes in our community, the only way we get it done is to do it ourselves. So I'm hopeful that with the positive vote on Proposal R, that City Council will listen to that vote, and City Council will implement a reparations task force, will implement reparations. But passing Proposal S is also in our back pocket to say, hey, if you don't, we'll do it ourselves. So again, Proposal R and Proposal S, we have a mailer going out. If you see it, it's the one with Harriet Tubman on the face of it. And, you know, let us not be the, as I recount, she's my superhero. And I'm paraphrasing a story that happened to her. And at the end of her life, they were giving her awards and accolades and talking about how many people she saved from slavery. And the lament and the heaviness in her heart was that she said, I could have saved hundreds more if they knew they were slaves. So let us not be them. And that's why this is the empowering moment. And just one more story is, it's so empowering that each and every step in which I've been involved, we created what we have is called the People's Voice. It's a 501c4, and that's the organization that's pushing Proposal S. And each and every time, and just for continuity purposes, I've always been the one to file the signatures. I know a lot of the faces here who have been down to that election commission. And each and every time I joke with the people up in front, they're very nice people, but it's not them that's in control. It's not the person who's an elected official who's in control sometimes. It's the theme, and it's this undercurrent, even in Detroit, that exists. And each and every time I tell them, I say, they're gonna try to keep this off the ballot. We sit there joking. And so I submitted 3,900 signatures, 3,608 will pass. 1,215 were invalidated. Now, I'm not finished with that. If anyone knows, as being a lawyer, you know something, this is a ground game. I'm going to go back to that when we get a chance, but I'm looking squarely on November 2nd to pass this. But we're going to get back to that. And 1,215, but there's a 15-day curing period in order to fix that. So what did we do? There's a lady named, I don't know if she's here today, Zena Johnson. Man, she's one of the baddest ladies I've ever known in getting these signatures. I mean, boy, oh boy, she's got a street team, and it's tight, it's everything. You know, and so we come back with about 2,800 in about 10 days. So they didn't even count the total amount. They just said, you got enough, because we sent them in incrementally. They said, you got enough, that's 3,751, you got enough. I said, no, I want you to count them all. Well, we haven't gotten back to that, but they understand I'm going to come back to that. So then it goes to city council once I had the sufficient number of signatures. And remember this name, Gina Avery Walker. Gina Avery Walker is the individual who signed and said my signatures were valid. So different than a candidate petition is a referendum petition. A referendum petition requires an affidavit. So if anybody's ever filled out a candidate petition, they got to sign that circulator thing. A referendum has to also have an affidavit, meaning that person also has to have a signed name and notarized. That's on the back of our form. So that individual validated our signatures, which caused us to be able to move forward. At some point in time, the Election Commission decided to take this off the ballot and vote no to put it on the ballot. Now, we're not going to accept that, right? We've been told no all our lives, but it's important for us, whether we win or lose, is to fight. So the letter says illegally not sufficient. How am I supposed to fight that? So I had to order the minutes. So they waited 6 days, and if anyone knows anything about elections, they move quickly. And you wait 6 days is a lifetime in elections. So they notified me 6 days later through an email. So it took me another day or two to get the minutes. When I got the minutes, I recognized they hadn't read the ballot. They're taking somebody else's information. Maybe I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. And they're saying they don't understand what I'm asking for, but yet I know if it wins, I know what's going to happen. That's incongruent as I've ever heard. This doesn't make sense. So we filed a lawsuit on August 27th. All right, I got time, Ken. August 27th. And what happened, September 10th, we're in court, and I get this affidavit from Gina Avery Walker, who validated these signatures, who said our petitions were only 1 page. Yet, when Judge Kenny brought those signatures down after we had this contested hearing, all 600 of them had 2 pages. And again, that's not over with either. But again, Judge Kenny did the right thing. We're on the ballot. Look for it. Proposal S, Proposal R, we are combined in one in bringing reparations to the city of Detroit. Thank you. Yeah, RS.
Thank you so much, Attorney Perkins. We'll take up to 2 questions. If you have a question for Attorney Perkins at this time.
Not a question.
Brother Adams.
So the technical amendment to the charter to allow for citizens or authorize council to appropriate based on what Proposal R said.
Now the brother's a lawyer, right? So yeah, he's spoken the law. Now, yes, it is to, because we don't appropriate money, that would not be constitutional. And that's what I was talking about, the workaround that comes later. What it does is it takes out the restriction that's in the charter that says citizens cannot appropriate money or make legislation to appropriate money. Yeah, it will be city council that does that, but we can at least make the law to direct them and tell them what to do.
So just understanding that the attack will be yes for reparations, but no on the second piece because it's going to bankrupt the city. We know it's coming, we might as well put it out there.
It's coming out there, but I think it's even more insidious than that. It's going to be no on reparations, but they can't say it. They can't say it, you know something, but they ain't for it. I mean, because if they were, they'd be here. They'd be at each and every corner talking about, we wouldn't have to have the petition come on the ballot. We wouldn't. They would have already done it.
All right. Brother Hodo for the final question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brother Adams.
I know you talking about getting money, but is it a piece in here for acquisition of land? But all of this land is being unused throughout the city, and the original documentation, as a historian, you know, was 40 acres of the mule.
Absolutely.
So is there a piece in it for acquisition of land?
Well, that's to be decided by people smarter than myself. But here's the thing. You have like things, opportunities that are coming. If you get rid of I-375, that was an area that was black bottom, why do we not get preferential treatment in land in that area, in that prime piece of property? Absolutely. This is to create a momentous effect, not only here, but across the country. So that, you know, to answer your question, absolutely we should have an opportunity to share in land that we have been taken, that's been taken from us.
All right, let's hear it again for Brother Todd Perkins.
Thank you.
Good brother, always on the case. Again, I'm Ken Coleman, one of your co-moderators this afternoon. Give yourselves a hand for being here. I just wanted to take a point of personal privilege before we get started in the meat of today's conversation about the Board of Police Commissioners, and just say that I'm very honored to be here as a co-moderator. I was a very young talk show producer in the early 90s when Theo Broughton and Brother Reggie Turner were regular callers, certainly activists in the community, but they were regular callers to WQBH radio and all the WCHB, the whole Detroit Talk Radio family. And Reggie Crawford, I'm sorry, pardon me. I remember being a young guy and learning so much from Theo and Reggie, and remembering talking to Theo after one of the talk shows. We talked sometimes, Theo, for a half hour, an hour after the show. And Theo said, I'm going to start an organization. I'm going to start a grassroots organization to analyze community issues, to take a position on community issues, and be what I have always been, effectively what she was saying was an activist. And that was Hood Research about 30 years ago. So again, I'm proud to be here. I can remember, I'm old enough to remember when it started, and has followed Theo and Reggie's career. So proud of you, Reggie, and all the work you've done with the Detroit Police Department, the Wayne County Commission, Wayne County Sheriff's Office, and of course the Board of Police Commissioners. And so that is the meat of that's the thrust of our conversation today. We'll hear from candidates who are running for the Board of Police Commissioners, and I'm going to turn it over to my co-moderator, Michelle Broughton, who will give us more.
Thank you very much. I'm Michelle Broughton, and if you haven't guessed, I am the daughter of Theo Broughton. I'm a precinct delegate, also an activist, and I'm an educator. But before we get to our police commissioners, I'd like to bring up a special candidate running for mayor, and that is Attorney Adams.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Theo. Thank you, Hood Research. I'm not going to be long because you come here to see candidates actually debate issues in our community. You know, I think it's incumbent upon us to understand that the possibility of having a debate is to allow people to understand and hear what candidates actually have to say and have to defend their platforms. And when you have a candidate who so high-handedly refuses to debate and hide behind lies, he talks about speech. I call it lie speech, because if you look at the justification of what he said, why he would not debate, it's a single tweet relating to how blacks are having a hard time buying land in the city of Detroit. And so this debate today is about transparency. It's about how we police ourselves, how we really transform our community, of how we can police ourselves and do things in a much more positive manner. And so I thank Hood Research for having the guts and these candidates for showing up, because they didn't have to show up to debate the issues that are impacting their lives. It's all about transparency. It's all about getting to the truth. We have a truth in our city that we all understand, that there is a high level of high-handedness. There's a high level of arrogance. There is a high level of disrespect for the voters in this community. There's a lot of money passing hands, people getting paid off, and we're going to call it out see it for what it is, because if we're going to really move our community forward, we have to be about the business of informing people on how to protect their rights. And so thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Hood Research, for allowing me the opportunity, and thank these candidates for having the courage, not being cowards, not being scared to come forward to put the ideas forward to the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Attorney Anthony Adams. Give him another hand. Candidate for Detroit Mayor. Before I turn it back to Michelle, who will start the introductions of the candidates, wanted to offer a brief history of the institution that we're talking about today, this afternoon. I know many people in the room, and y'all know that I'm passionate about chronicling Black life in Detroit. I'm honored to be one of several people in this town who helped to raise that history, chronicle that history, and offer it to not only the current generations, but hopefully future generations. The Detroit Board of Police Commissioners has an origin that really goes back to the 1960s, at least in its most formidable sense. Jerry Cavanaugh was mayor of Detroit in the 1960s, elected in 1961, and served until 1969. During that Cavanaugh administration and tenure, there were many Black organizations, the TULC, the NAACP, GOAL, the organization led by Reverend Albert Clegg, and organizations led by many people who felt like Black people were catching hell from the police, actually being murdered by the police, actually being harassed by the police. Not an unfamiliar story, right? We still struggle with that. That's right, but that's right, brother, current events. But what was happening in the 60s is these organizations went to Mayor Cavanaugh, who was a liberal Democrat, and said, we help you to get elected, Mayor Cavanaugh. We want you to start and implement a police trial board, a body that would police the police, a body that would look at issues around police brutality, that would investigate allegations of brutality and other criminality, including murder. Well, long story short, Jerry Cavanaugh came up with all the excuses why it couldn't happen. Well, NAACP, well, TULC, the charter says you can't do it. We can't do it. And it was humana for 2 terms, 8 years of Jerry Cavanaugh's tenure. Then finally, the NAACP and a man named Coleman Alexander Young. Y'all remember him? Coleman Alexander Young, y'all will remember, was a state senator at that time. And Coleman Alexander Young and the NAACP said, we are going to start a ballot petition to place on the ballot the issue of a police trial board. That's what they called it at the time. That's the concept at the time. That effort was in 1969. Well, unfortunately, they fought hard, but Coleman Alexander Young and the Detroit NAACP fell short. Did not get the requisite number of petition signatures to place this trial board issue on the ballot, just like the proposals, in the same way we were talking about the proposals earlier. But what did happen was, what Jerry Cavanaugh did do is say, you know, the charter hasn't been revised since 1918. And this was 1969. Cavanaugh said it hasn't been, he said it hasn't been revised since 1918. And Cavanaugh said it's time to put a question on the ballot in Detroit as to whether or not we want to revise our ancient, antiquated, and old charter. And guess what happened? Who was voting in 1970? Who was a voter in 1970? Who remembers 1970? You will remember, Dr. Telford, Dr. John Telford, you will remember that voters said, yes, we want to revise our charter. So we had a charter revision commission that was seated in early 1971, and it met for 2 years. One of the major things that came out of that charter revision was the Board of Police Commissioners. It took more than a decade of work and activism to have it happen, but it did happen. And on July 22nd, 1974, the very first Board of Police Commissioners convened. Who were some of those names? Doug Frazier, former UAW president. Who remembers Susan Mills Peake? A community activist, Linda, I know you do. But Susan Mills Peake was young, but Susan was in her early 20s, but she was sharp. And Susan was on that panel. Also remember Reverend Butler, Reverend Charles Butler, Mayor Young's pastor at Calvary. He was on that panel. And Linda, you as a learned attorney, you probably remember Edward Littlejohn. All right. So it was a powerful group of 5 people, right? And so they convened first in 1974, and that process, in terms of that 5-member body appointed by the mayor, carried on its work for decades. I was a member of the 2009 Charter Revision Commission, and we had an idea which essentially said, listen, let's get some more voices on the Board of Police Commission. Let's make sure that there's somebody in every district in Detroit. Make sure there's at least one person on the Board of Police Commissioners. We placed that on the ballot in 2011. The majority of voters approved it, and so now our police commission was expanded from 5 members to 11. And that's where we are today, and that's what we'll hear. We'll hear from candidates who are running for those offices, but I thought it was important. Many of you know that history, but it's important for our audience, our larger audience, perhaps might be younger, to understand how we got here. As I turn it back to Michelle, I'll just close by saying activism is important, right, Brother Reggie? I mean, we didn't get this police commission without fighting for it. We had to fight for it. We had to fight a liberal Democrat, Jerry Kavanaugh, who otherwise was a pretty good man. But he found an excuse, or his lawyers found an excuse not to have one. Now we have one. My last editorial comment, shall it never go away. As long as I'm a Detroiter and I got to vote, you'll hear me, you've heard me over the years. The Board of Police Commissioners is a very important body, perhaps in many ways, as a black man, more important than the Detroit City Council. And so we ought to treat it that way. I'm glad to be on this panel, and I turn it back to Michelle.
All right.
Thank you. So what we would like to do now is introduce the different candidates. They're going to introduce themselves. They have 2 minutes, and then somebody's keeping time, and then we will have questions. But you want to hear why they're running. You want to know their name. You want to connect a name with the face. And so we're going to do that, and then we'll have questions after the introductions. So we're going to start on my right and have them come to the podium because this is fixed.
And I should say, Michelle, this is a part, I was going there. You know, ground rules are important. And I just want to make sure we've got the timekeeper. Yeah. And everybody focus your eyes on the timekeeper.
1 minute left is the blue. 15 seconds left is the pink. Stop.
You can come to the mic.
And I should point out again, your moderators today are myself, Ken Coleman, and my co-moderator, Michelle Rose.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Ricardo R. Moore. I'm a candidate for police commissioner in District Number 7. How many residents here live in District 7? Raise your hand. All right, we got good representation. All right. I've been on the police commission before, but before I start talking about my commission, I got to talk about how Hood Research has kind of mentored me along. You know, a lot of times when you're a police officer, you don't see things from a community lens. You see it from a police lens. And when you have mentors and people who care, they grab you by the collar and tell you, hey, this is not the way the community likes it. This is the way we need it to be. And I'm glad I had the opportunity to meet a Reggie Crawford, Theo Broughton, a Henry, a Tawana, William Davis, who endorsed me. He's the present police commissioner in District Number 7. You know, these things mean a lot. So you are my bosses. My mantra is that I work for you. You're the bosses. I'm born and raised in the city of Detroit, graduated from the Murray Wright High School, which is now Frederick Douglass, going on to Western Michigan University where I majored in criminal justice. Central Michigan, I have a master's degree in public administration, honorably discharged from the United States Army, quartermaster soldier, as well as being the MP. I've worked on the local, state, county, and federal government law enforcement. I worked under the late, great Benny Napoleon, which mentored me, and he wanted to make sure that we can compete not only here in the city of Detroit, but across the United States of America against people. And that's who brought me up. I do advocate for you, and again, you are my bosses. And I gave out my card earlier, my telephone number for anyone who's interested. Just because I'm in District 7 doesn't mean I can't help you elsewhere. 313-215-0398. 313-215-0398. Thank you, and God bless each and every one of you.
One last thing. Can you tell them what streets will be your boundaries?
Generally speaking, District 7 is Rouge Park, McKenzie High School area, Cody High School area, Winterhalter area, Dexter Davison. On the far west is Savoy and Joy Road, Dexter, I-96, Linden, Eaton, it vacillates back and forth. Tireman border on the south, as well as Grand River. And that's the general borders.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And candidates, go ahead. Candidates, be sure to wrap into your presentation, your boundaries, so people know what the community in which you want to represent.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Lavish T. Williams. I'm running for police commissioner for District 2. I'm a long-term resident from District 2, Mumford Mustang alumni. Yes. I'm running for police commissioner. Well, actually, before I tell you why I'm running for police commissioner, let me share my boundaries. The boundaries start from 8 Mile and John R. down to 8 Mile in Southfield up to 6 in Southfield. It kind of wiggles its way past 6 and Hubble down towards Linden, back up Linden towards, I'll say, right before Davison, around the Oakman, Focus Hope area, back around Highland Park area, just to give you guys kind of like an area that District 2 covers. So Mumford, Renaissance, some of the Central High School individuals might live in that area, but it cuts off right there. However, I'm running for police commissioner because me sitting in a meeting once upon a time ago, I was listening to issues and concerns that a lot of the citizens and the people had. I never paid it too much attention as far as me being the individual that would want to run for this position. But after gathering and meeting individuals, hearing issues and problems, and them being able to relate to me and me being able to relate to them, being young and old, I felt that I would be a great candidate for this position. Maybe they can hear my voice, and my voice can make a difference and could be the change for the people in the public to work for you. So.
Lavish Williams. Lavish Williams.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Robert Olive. I'm the Associate Pastor at Church of the Messiah, running in District 7. District 7 pretty much is from Ann Arbor Trail to the west side of Dexter, for the most part from Ford Road to Linden. I'm also the chairman of the Next Generation Leadership for the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and founder of a nonprofit organization called Righteous Sons. For the most part, my main reason for running was when I was going over, reflecting on how we kept on, finally was able to look at Black Lives Matter, right? Not that it's more important, not that it's more elite than the other, other races and things like that, but that it just mattered. And then I had to also reflect on the fact that because we say that Black Lives Matter, that means that all of our voice need to be equally heard. It needs to be properly respected and represented. And so I looked at the approximately 150 people, 150,000 residents in the city of Detroit that has some type of criminal background and how they haven't had a voice. We talk about cutting recidivism rate, and we're talking about people returning back to the community having a fair chance. And so as a returning citizen myself, who has completely changed my life around and made so many amazing triumphs, to let it be known that my past truly is the past, I wanted to make sure that I could properly represent the people as a whole for the city of Detroit and for District 7, but more importantly, those individuals who haven't had proper representation, haven't had no one to look at the things that go on when we talk about police encounters from the perspective of those people who have had negative encounters with the police. And so that's one of my main reasons, and just truly honored to do whatever I can do to continue to help our community and our city thrive and continue to be the best that it can be. That's it. Robert Olive. Robert, last name Olive.
And candidates again, please in your comments.
Olive, O-L-I-V-E.
And candidates in your comments, please open and close with your name and wrap into your comments the community in which you want to represent. Vote down.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Landis Spencer. I'm running to be the police commissioner for District 6. District 6 boundaries includes the very far west side of the city, so like right before you get to River Rouge. It goes through all of southwest Detroit, and then it goes up Woodward right by Wayne State's campus. My background is that I'm a community organizer. I organize with the Democratic Socialists of America. I was the co-chair of the Black and Brown Alliance inside of that organization. And one of our main issues was policing, and still is policing. And that came to a head last year, as we all know what happened with George Floyd. The entire country had an awakening with police violence and basically what all of us know, right, as being black people in the city and how we interact with police. And so after that awakening, we wanted to bring our concerns about the department, to the Board of Police Commissioners, to our own community oversight body of the police department. And unfortunately, we were met with blatant disregard for the concerns that we had and the community had around policing. And so that was one of my main motivators to run. I'm mainly running because we need to rethink of how we do public safety in this city. Our current model is very expensive and it's not keeping anyone safe. Year over year, we increase in crime and we're the most dangerous city in America. And yet year over year, our police budgets increase. And what that means to me is that we're not doing things that actually keeps us safe. We need to put money into things such as mental health care workers that'll keep us safe and not facial recognition technology or military weapons. Thank you. Landis Spencer, District 6.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ortegas Jackson, write-in candidate for District 2. History. Well, I've been on boots on the ground for the past at least 20 years, trying to save our community, helping our people in the community understand the policing as well as policing understanding the people. My objective for running for this position is to basically to bring the community and policing together to understand one another and to stop the killings on the streets. I deal with many of the schools in the 2nd District as well as all over the city of Detroit. Was a member of Detroit 300 as well as the Marcus Garvey movement as well as ALPAC, which is an organization that prevents sex trafficking on our teenagers. That's basically. Oh, my boundaries are from 7 Mile, from 6 Mile to John R. down to 7 Mile, 8 Mile on down to shoot around. Like he said, it's difficult, but it shoots down Southfield back up to almost in Rosedale Park, around Rosedale Park and Dustford. And my name again is Ortegas Jackson. That is spelled O-R-T-A-G-U-S Jackson, J-A-C-K-S-O-N.
And as a reminder, candidates, you're talking to voters. There's prospective voters out there. It's to your advantage to say your name as many times as you can and let them know where you want to represent. So this is your opportunity. Yes, ma'am.
How you doing? I don't want to get too close to the mic to spread any EBGB, so can you hear me? No. Okay. I am Tamara Liberty Smith. I am running for police commissioner in District 1. I am a former precinct delegate of 254. I also am a former city council candidate who actually made it to the general, so I am excited about that in 2017. I'm honestly continuing to do what I've already done for you, and that's advocate for the community. I'm known as the crime fighter in the community. It's very, very concerning to me of the timely manner that police are not getting to the residents. I'm concerned at how we're not all treated fairly. And I could say that because people come to me because they feel like they can come to me and get faster results than they can if they actually went to the police. So I'm here to represent and fight for you. I'm also against facial recognition. I am not for the recognition because it is not serving fairly in the marginalized communities and people of color, and it has been wrong. It has wrongly convicted others, and it's not anything that we should stand on right now in this time. The technology has not advanced itself for that. Seniors, I'm extremely concerned, and you are the voices of our city. You are the ones that actually vote. You are the ones that I am concerned about, and I want to continue to protect you and continue to advocate for you and be of service for you. And that's my job, to serve you. I am Tamara Liberty Smith in District 1. That is Rosedale Park, Grandmont, Brightmoor. It ranges from Ardmore, the end of our district, which goes down from 7 Mile all the way around to 96 and Fullerton area, all the way to 5 Point, which is the first block of Redford. So once again, remember my name, please. I am Tamara Smith. I am a write-in candidate this time. Tamara Smith, District 1. Thank you.
I want to point out, as you know, we are in a room named after an esteemed member of the U.S. House of Representatives, Carolyn Cheeks Kilpatrick. Thinking about her this afternoon, give her a hand.
Hello, my name is Stephen Boyle. I'm running for police commissioner as a write-in candidate in District 3, that's Northeast Detroit. To give you an idea where District 3 is, District 3 is located, it starts at the corner of Harper Woods in Detroit at 8 Mile as east of Gratiot and comes across at 7 Mile to Gratiot, comes down Gratiot to City Airport, goes across from City Airport to Hamtramck, north from Hamtramck up to 6 Mile, across 6 Mile over to John R., comes up John R. to 8 Mile. So that is District 3. Who am I as far as a person in Detroit? I have been an activist in the city for the past decade. I started my activism mostly around Occupy Detroit. And many people know me from those years and marching through the streets, and we've had plenty of police encounters, good and bad, along the way. We've attended city council sessions and other bodies of the government. Many of the efforts were questionable as to whether it was anarchist or was it actually just a progressive movement. And I'll say that many of us actually saw things like the Green Party as a potential party for us to be activists and engage in politics. While it may not be very well known, it is a very progressive party. I am proud to be part of that. I'm also proud to be a member of the Metro Detroit Democratic Socialists of America as well. Things that I did while I was in that group, I was part of Free Detroit No Consent. We worked very hard against the bankruptcy and the consent agreement as well. I did a lot of research. You can ask those people that were close to me. We wrote a lot of opinion papers on different topics. We have, I would like to remind you that I'm going to be a write-in candidate. My name's Stephen Boyle. It's spelled S-T-E-P-H-E-N-B-O-Y-L-E. And if you're going to vote for a write-in candidate, you need to know that you're going to fill in the blank on the form and you're going to fill the circle, the oval, next to it as well. Because if you don't fill the oval next to the write-in candidate's name, it won't be counted. I hope to have your vote. And thank you.
Hello, and thank you for having me here. I'm Scotty Bowman. Okay. Well, I guess it's because I'm in District 4 that I'm hearing a response. And by the way, my name will appear on the ballot as S-C-O-T-T-Y-B-O-M-A-N. There's no W in my name. There may be someone's name near me who has a W in it, but not my own. And I'm running for police commissioner for District 4, which we're in. We're actually in the edge of it. Most of it is bounded by, I would say, Connor, Gratiot, Harper Woods, Grosse Pointe, and the Water. However, there's plenty of District 4 that is not within those boundaries. And I can include, for instance, where we are. Some along the western edge, we got like McClelland and Bewick. We got other streets. On the above Gratiot, we even have a little wedge between Gratiot and McNichols, which is in District 4. One thing I noticed, I really enjoyed hearing that list of the original police commissioners. And one thing is, I have a lot in common with them. I'm not a retired police officer. Why didn't, you got to ask, why wasn't the first board of police commissioners made up of police officers? And the answer to that question is, it's not part of the police department. Unlike maybe in other cities or like in Batman or General Hospital, the police commissioner is not like a co-chief of the police department. The police commissioners are here for civilian oversight to review cases of people who are victims of abuse. And we do have abuse in Detroit. While George Floyd died when he was put in a suffocation position, we had Nakia Wallace here in Detroit. She was put in a chokehold. She didn't die. But it could have been the other way around. Detroit is not immune to abuse. We need strong oversight in Detroit. Thank you.
As a historical note, three people who were murdered by police. The list is long. But Leon Mosley, a 15-year-old African-American boy in 1948, he was a Miller High School student. Cynthia Scott, people remember the Cynthia Scott case of 1963. And as Gary Hunter pointed out, Malice Green in 1992.
Good afternoon. First and foremost, I want to say this. I am a proud retired police officer of the city of Detroit. I serve you on the front line like so many great officers in the city of Detroit. I'm a veteran of the U.S. Army. I serve you in military. I don't apologize for my public service. I spent 32 years, and keep in mind that black police officers were in the forefront before we had a board of police commissioners. We advocate on your behalf through the Guardians Police Association and other black associations, not only here, but across this country with the National Black Police Association. So my record speaks for itself. I don't apologize, I reject that. And I want to say this to you, that we made a difference. My brother Crawford and others here, we made a difference. We didn't ask for accolades, but the records speak for here. I'm running for re-election because this is the time for a progressive commissioner, and I'm part of that. I'm not talking about locally. We have a president of the United States, we have a vice president, they're advocating police reform. And I serve with the National Association of Civilian Oversight for Law Enforcement. And I know that Justice Department is pushing those issues out that you don't see, that we don't see, but I'm involved with that. So I want to see the work continue, not only locally. The issue that we have is in the community, but you are the voice. Unfortunately, the Charter Commission did not make the dent in terms of the reform they should have made with the body of police commissioners. Now, we don't have that power. We handle non-criminal complaints. The issue that we should be dealing with, we don't have that authority. Keep that in mind. But within that policy, facial recognition, we wrote the policy on the body cameras. Those issues you see the consequence of. We serve this community. Is my time up? And I'm Willie Bell, District 4. It's been already explained, from the river, Connors, all the way up McCullough, all the way up to Gratiot and Airport, and all the way down over to Morale. Thank you for the opportunity. I look for your vote on Willie Bell, District 4. Thank you.
And as we wait for the other candidate to come up, remember, policy is important, because with policy change comes the better way that we can enjoy how we live in our community. Thank you.
How's everybody doing? My name is Brian Ferguson. My name is Brian Ferguson. My name is Brian Ferguson. I'm running for District 1 Police Commissioner. The boundary is, in a nutshell, Telegraph to 8 Mile, Southfield, Greenfield, and Schoolcraft. I just resigned being president of Schoolcraft Improvement Association after 12 years. I stepped down so I can run for this position here. I didn't want this to get in the way from my good work I did with Schoolcraft. All right? I'm running because I believe in this city. I'm for the right. I've always been for the right on both sides, police side and the citizen side. I've actually won a citation from the Board of Police Commissioners a few years back. I was also voted and won Neighborhood Community Leader of the Year for City of Detroit. So this is what my parents brought me up to be, a leader. So I'm an out-of-the-box thinker, and I want to bring some policy, out-of-the-box thinking policy, to the City of Detroit and the district that I'm going to serve. Again, my name is Brian Ferguson, Brian Ferguson, Brian Ferguson, and I'm running as a write-in for District 1. Thank you. B-R-Y-A-N. B-R-Y-A-N. And that's Brian, B-R-Y-A-N. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm attorney Linda Bernard, and I don't always hear as well as I need to, and I don't know if you can hear us well, so I choose to stand here. I am your police commissioner in District 2. District 2 includes not only WC3's, up to WC3's campus on the west side, but also U of D, all the way back to the new home of Amazon, which I'm very proud of and which will obviously employ a great number of people in our community. I'm an attorney. I'm a public interest lawyer. I've won 3 public interest law cases in the Michigan Supreme Court. I'm used to the law. As a civil rights lawyer and as a criminal defense attorney, I have protected men and women in this community my entire career. What are my priorities as a police commissioner? Number one, I'm the only lawyer on the commission. So I'm the only one who could truly interpret statutes, ordinances, etc., and policies. Recently, I was named as the chair of the policy committee. I'm really excited about that, because all the things that you talk about in terms of police misconduct or conduct are in policies. Search and seizure, no-knock warrants, etc. All of these things are related to policy. Search warrants, everything. So this is important to me because I have now asked the dean of Wayne State's Law School to participate with me and the members of our committee in reviewing these policies. So I suggested we're going to have a lot of very, very important changes. What are my goals? 3. There are 3 of them. First of all, to reduce gun violence in our community. How do I want to do that? I want to do a gun buyback program. And I know that the women in this room will respond to that, because you will take the guns from your boyfriends, husbands, sons, and turn them in for money. And I'll pay for bullets as well. Secondly, I've already suggested a constitutional review of all of our policies. It's more than just what we think. I mean, there really are precedents and so forth that relate to this. And then finally, I want to stop the stop and frisk of black people in this community. What you see, a friend of mine who's a police officer told me the only place it's safe for 5 black males to be is a basketball court. That's a disgrace. And it's happening in this city, and someone complained to me about it yesterday.
Thank
you. A man
you.
with some gray hair, believe it or not. So I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here. There's literature outside on me. Please pick it up on your way out. Again, my name is Attorney Linda D. Bernard. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, and again, they have 2 minutes.
Good evening. How everybody doing this afternoon?
I'm District 5 Police Commissioner Willie Burton. I represent communities like Boston Edison, Indian Village, part of downtown, Midtown, Harbortown, LaSalle Gardens, the New Center area, and then also neighborhoods that's in between. I'm running for a third term on the Detroit Board of Police Commission. Here's why. When I look at situations like in 2014, 2015, in Baltimore, you have brother Michael Brown that was gunned down by the police. You look at a situation in Ferguson where another black man was killed by the police by the name of Freddie Gray. But we also look at situations here, a little bit more close to home. And so Aiyana Jones, who was also murdered and killed by the police right here in America's blackest, poorest city like Detroit. I look at innocent protesters that's recently that was shot with flash gang grenades, rubber bullets, thrown to the ground and treated like criminals for exercising their constitutional right, freedom of speech. I'm running for so many different things like banning facial recognition that cannot, that misidentify a person of color that doesn't have the resources for a good legal defense. It criminalizes those that wake up every damn day in poverty. I still say shut it down. I'm looking forward to serving with new commissioners in January like Tamara Smith coming out of District 1, Lavish T. Williams out of District 2, former Commissioner Ricardo Moore coming out of District 7, Scotty Bowman coming out of District 4, Landis Spencer coming out of District 6. We need a board that's going to represent the people and not be an appendage to the chief or the mayor. In Detroit, we stand up. In Detroit, we stand up. In Detroit, we stand up.
The zip codes for City Council District 3 are 48203, 48234, 12, and 13. And that's between 6 and 8 Mile, John R. Kelly, basically. Okay, so, and that's the 3rd district. Again, I would like to fight for our people. I would like to stand in lieu of our people against policy against us in regards to, for instance, when they took our houses for granted and overtaxed us. I would like to get our tax money back. I would also like to help them figure out what to do with our infrastructure because this flooding is ridiculous. I'm a person that believes in beautifying the area. I would like us to have flowers, plants, trees, and some paint. I believe in block clubs and block club associations and affiliates. I believe the better we know each other, the safer we are, the more comfortable we can live. I would like to stand in the gap for people that we need to reach back and pull up. I'm an Obama grassroots walker, and Obama grassroots walker was the founder of Grassroots. They call me Queen of Hearts of the Obama grassroots walkers. I'm vice chair. I also am a former Southern Christian Leadership Conference vice president. I was a precinct delegate. Even further than that, I used to be a realtor under Philip Cole Jr. So I got a chance to understand what zoning principles are. We have lots of land in, developed in District 3. Vanessa Simpson Olive is my name, District 3. Please vote for me. Write me in. I'm a registered write-in. We have a lot of write-ins for some tricky reason in Detroit.
is another candidate here. I do apologize. I didn't know we had 2 city council candidates. His name is W.F. Hodo. Could you stand up? 2 minutes. Okay. While he's walking to the mic, we want the newspaper man to tell you about his newspaper.
All right, many of you know me from TV 33, 88.1 FM for about 20 years. I covered everything from community activism to some interviewing folks like John Conyers. I interviewed the man who was in charge of finding all the dead bodies at the 911 site, and I've interviewed many politicians on city council, mayoral candidates, as well as I've been doing a whole lot in the city of Detroit over the last 30 years, way before Obama was even thought of for a candidate. And I'm one who usually likes to follow the protocol that's set forth for a meeting, and I don't barge my way in. Now, I've lived in District 3 for 55 years. 55 years. I'm 57 years old. I've been living there 55 years. I've been everything from a football coach at Persian High School to captain of the Persian High School football team when I was in high school. I've been mentoring young men through Persian through an organization called Brothers in Transition. I've mentored young men in the Rites of Passage program at W.E.B. Du Bois Preparatory High School. I've donated information concerning black inventors to then Timbuktu Academy, where we gave them how many patents they had as well as who patented them. But not only that, I've been one of those who've been in the community. I've sat on board of directors of community centers such as the Northern State Fair Neighborhood Health and Empowerment Center that was defunded during the Kilpatrick administration. I've also walked hand in hand with those in my community to deal with dismantling drug houses and a whole lot of other things. Now, my name is W.F. Hodo for District 3 City Council. I am a write-in. And look, 6 letters, you can't mess that up. W.F. Hodo. Thank you.
We are going to have Gary Hunter explain to you about his paper, and then I promise you we're getting the questions. You got 2 minutes.
Thank you. Look, first of all, let's give Hood Research a round of applause. Can we give them a standing ovation? This is the only forum that I've been to in the last 2 or 3 months. I only get one stand. Y'all don't want to stand for Hood Research?
Just stretch. Just stretch 7 miles.
I saw the stand. Somebody know y'all now that didn't know y'all, so all y'all should be standing. And I take it serious because I travel a lot. And I'm telling you, whether it's Atlanta, Augusta, whether it's New Jersey, wherever I've just come from, we don't really have people telling us about what's happening with our elected officials or those dreaming of being elected officials. So I want to thank Theo and her whole team, the electrical guy back there, the sound guy, her spoiled daughter, and everybody. Michelle, I forgot my name. And I say that, Theo, not just because you're here, but we wait till people die to say something nice. And I want to appreciate you and the team while you live. And right now, we've seen more people die in the last 2 years than we've ever seen. Even as a preacher, I've seen more folk die. So can y'all learn to at least turn around and appreciate people? Look at your neighbor and say, I appreciate you. And say, I hope I didn't lie. Now, I'm going to say this, and y'all can just look at the paper. That was off the cuff, but let me say this. We just put out over 400,000 copies of these. I can't have cheap ass because the printer ain't cheap. The graphic artist ain't cheap. You need to step up to the plate if you want to be in the shot news. I try to work with people and I tell them, I'll work with you. And if you listen when I say I'll work with you, candidates, listen. But it's amazing to me, no offense to the white people who don't apply. Y'all spend all that money with white printers, all that money with white mailers, and then you want to come to me and act like you don't want to spend no money. I just did every apartment building, every condo association in Detroit in the last 3 days with a half-broke leg. We doing the work. Please appreciate the paper. Please, if you need to know where to get it, you can call me at 313-44. It's on the back of the paper. My direct cell number. Don't call me with no foolishness, because I'm a cussing preacher. I will cuss you out. But listen to me on this writing stuff. If I can give y'all some advice, y'all need to get some stickers. Let's be smart about this. Don't blame the clerk because you didn't do your job. Don't blame the clerk because we didn't get our signatures in. Let's just do something else. Stop the blame game. Let's get on the work game. If we want new commissioners, we want new city councilmen, let's get a label and give it to the people and stick it on the ballot. And I ain't going to charge y'all for that, but I'll send you a bill. So thank you, Hood Research, for being out in the community. And whatever I can do to help y'all, let me know. If you got something legitimate going on, as much as I travel, I try to be back here for events. I know I'll be in Chicago with Obama next week, but I'll be right back. But the real bottom line is we got a serious race going on, and we got a mayor that's about to bring the hoe that he was screwing back to be the first lady of the city. Somebody talked to me, gave her $300,000.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh. Okay. Now we are to the point where we have questions. I do have a small announcement. There's another write-in candidate. You could just stand up. Her name is Cheryl Anderson. Kenda Anderson, write-in candidate for city clerk. City clerk. Thank you. Okay, so we have the police commissioners. Some have talked about the facial recognition technology. That was a question from some members of the community. So any one of them can answer your questions, and I'll try to be democratic about it. Raise your hand, and I can point to you and use your cheerleader voice or your playground voice so they can hear you. So who wants to ask the first question? Right here? The police commissioners that's in the position?
This is the quietest election across the board. Say it again.
You?
Was you
Okay.
being quiet because you didn't want nobody to run against you? Yes. Or what's wrong with that? Is she crazy? I'm not crazy.
Okay, can we have her answer it?
Yep.
All right.
I can take that question.
Please come on.
I agree with you. It is a very different election. I ran for council in 2017. I went personally when I collected signatures and not door to door in my district. I was just as appalled as you that I didn't make the ballot. I never wanted to run as a write-in. I believe in my city. I do what people are getting paid to do for free. I advocate for the community all the time. This is what I'm known for. I'm known by every news station. I'm known by our previous police chief, our current deputy chief. Many of the police stations that we have in Detroit know who Tamara Liberty Smith is. So I'm just as appalled as you. This election, you're not crazy. The election is different. It is quiet. I do not know what's going on. I had a double retinal detachment, speaking for myself. I went blind during this election. I just had eye surgery September 9th. I was unable to see, so I'm very late in the race, but I agree. I don't know if that answers your question, but I don't know. Whether I get elected, it's not going to change who I am. I'm going to still do what I do, work for the community.
Detroit. Come on. He's choking out the vote.
That's right.
He's choking out the vote.
Say it.
Don't you little. You gotta vote. You gotta get your family out there,
That's
your
right.
friends, your children. It's so important to turn out the vote. They choked us off the ballot. Okay. I collected my votes myself. Okay, I collected my votes myself, and they took over 300 off. And I know they were right in the middle of my district. How could they be wrong? I don't understand. Every person said they belong to my district, and I saw that they did. So they took 300 of them away. However, now we're all registered write-ins. They kicked everybody off the ballot except for the incumbent that was being investigated shortly after, and I'm sure they knew.
Hi, my name is Stephen Boyle. I'm running as a write-in for District 3. This is STEPHENBOYLE. And what happened for my campaign, let me make sure that you can hear me. Is that better? Can you hear me? All right, I'll speak up louder. Let's use the voices we use in the street. All right. What happened in my campaign is pandemic hit. And it didn't just hit. It hit in the building I live in. Now, do you want me going out gathering my signatures? I was vaccinated, but that doesn't mean that I feel safe going out into the community with the pandemic situation in a multi-resident location where I live. Going to ask for a write-in candidacy, I hate to say it, but that is a way around what's going on with this pandemic. And I'm not saying it's the best by any means. But if you go out and you do the work in the community, and people see you doing the work in the community, and I'll tell you, if you ever want to talk to a bus rider, they've probably seen me around. Many of the people in this room may not be bus riders. But I'm right down in the street with our bus riders, listen to the stories we got going on there, but I also know we got situations in our neighborhoods as I've watched. Thank you.
Peace, Queen. That's a good question that you asked. Why are we all write-ins? Well, let me explain this one too. Ortegas Jackson, once again, write-in for District 2. The reason why I'm a write-in, I don't make excuses. We're not going to make none. In the beginning of the campaign period, I was going to run for city council for District 2. But talking to my elders, they said that's not the way to go. The way to begin your career in the city. So I picked, okay, well, let me start over. Let me retract and see what I want to do. So now I say I'm going to run for police commissioner in my district. Well, at that time, it was in the middle of the process. So it wasn't like I could just switch over, go get more signatures and turn them in. So they say, well, you have to be a write-in candidate. I took that challenge to be a write-in candidate because of the work that I do thus far. I didn't want to be a candidate or a write-in candidate, but I took it because I feel in my heart that I could win it with or without being on the ballot. That was what I did.
When they give you the information to be a write-in candidate saying you are disqualified, you have to challenge. And that's the problem with our constituent community. You do not challenge. So I challenged her when I was a write-in candidate. You have to follow up within 3 days because there's a law. So if you don't follow up within 3 days, then you're not going to be on the ballot. But us as residents, you gotta challenge. So there's laws
You gotta read up on the laws, because I see people that don't read up on them. They don't understand. You can still be a write-in candidate till October the 23rd right now. So you gotta read your laws.
But here's what Tom Barrow told me today at his meeting, that anybody that was a write-in, they should have had a primary.
Yes.
Because Duggan got in on a write-in in the primary, and then one of the write-ins would have been an actual on the ballot. See, or maybe two of the write-ins might have gotten on the ballot, and whoever was on the ballot might have lost in the primary. That was illegal according to Tom. We got to look that up. But you have to challenge it. Like Candace said, you got to challenge it. They got it.
Thank you. I have one thing. No, I need to introduce, keeping it fair, the city council candidate right here to my right. As she's talking, can you think about police commissioner questions? Thank you.
Okay, use my outside voice. I'm Letitia Johnson. I'm a candidate for City Council in District 4. I am glad to be here with you all. Thank you. I'm the most qualified candidate on this ballot running for District 4. I'm a native of Detroit, graduated from Kettering High School in 1993. I have a finance degree from the University of Michigan. I've been volunteering in the community for the past 14 years, served on the Board of Zoning Appeals, which is taking a small portion of City Council's role and making sure that the community's interest is best at heart as it relates to bringing businesses within our neighborhoods. I stand here before you because I ran 4 years ago against the current District 4 council person and received 42% of the vote. Initially, I was not going to run again, but so many of my neighbors reached out to me and said, Letitia, we need you to run because we can't just have newcomers coming in and walking right through the door when they've done nothing in our communities. And so that's why I stand here. I came in first place in the primary election, although there were 6 other people in my race. I came in first place because so many people throughout the district know the work that I have done, and they know that I have shown them who I am over the last 14 years. And so now they're standing behind me and going before me to make sure everybody knows who I am. So I thank you so much for your time. I appreciate having the opportunity to speak with you, and I do have some campaign literature if anybody here lives in District 4. Thank you.
That will be passed out outside.
Here?
Yes. Okay, so, yes.
Okay, my commissioner question to all of you that are politicians. When are y'all going to answer real questions? Give us some meat that we can really work with. Okay? The city is going down by a bucket pouring on the side of the road. Okay? I don't understand how y'all can sit there and want to be elected and don't have no issues to put before the people. Now, if you can answer that, then I'm good.
I got a question.
Commissioner question.
What I'd like to know from the police commissioner desires, or either the commissioner, is your real feelings about not only policing with, what you call it? Facial recognition. We know what some of y'all is because you've been out for it. But not only that, what is your theory about being aggressive with our nephews, our sons, our daughters? And I know maybe the 2 white people can't understand this, but my question is, we got some attitude kids. What is your feelings? Because if you don't have the right feelings, you can't police the police because you got the messed up feelings. And the reason why, Mr. Bell, we got a problem with police is because the police is the problem. So to govern the police, you got to separate yourself from being a police. Yeah, you serve is great. But the real bottom line is sometimes, and I, to be honest with you, because I've been hanging out with the sheriff the last couple of months, it did hurt me when the boy got shot the other day. So when we get to know them, we can respect them. They won't let us. So what are y'all going to do to govern people who is really out of touch with our community? And we got issues.
Now that's it.
And I think if you only let maybe 2 or 3 answers, so we ain't got to be all day on one question.
Regarding facial recognition technology, and by the way, I stand in the shadow of a giant, and that's Commissioner Willie Burton of District 5, and I'd like to appreciate what he's done standing up on this issue. He coined the phrase techno-racism. Facial recognition technology at present is notoriously bad at identifying African American people. And we live in a city that's predominantly African American. It is just the wrong place and the wrong time to be using it. Even when it works correctly, there's other hazards that still make it very dangerous, and that includes, for instance, the social credit system, which has been opened up in Red China. And if people think, oh, that's China, it can't happen here, look at history and look at the kinds of things that have happened here in the so-called free country of the United States. There's plenty that can still happen here, and has. So that's where I am on that. As far as the shootings and the abuse, I think that the Board of Police Commissioners needs to take that on. That's their duty. It is their duty. And by the way, it's not about police versus civilians. It's about aggression versus doing what's right. And we need to be able to make sure that we do not have people in the police department who are abusing the citizens that they're here to serve and protect. If they are a threat to people, those officers need to be removed. People like Dwayne Jones, who got promoted, and the Board of Police Commissioners refused to fight that in court. That is the type of problems I'm talking about.
Thank you.
You can go. I'll go ahead.
I'm Robert Olive. To answer your question, my personal opinion is a couple of things. One, we all know that hurt people hurt people. We have a lot of undiagnosed trauma within the police force, within our community as a whole. We also have an issue where we have a whole lot of people that's coming to police a community that they don't live in, that they're not a part of. So the thing is that we talking about a generational gap. We're talking about a community gap, because you have people coming in to govern a community who they're not even a part of. So we got to deal with that issue as well. Then we have to create relationships, and there's no relationships been established amongst the community as well as amongst the police. So we have to have a level of accountability and responsibility as community as well as on the police as well. So my thing is to be able to work on bridging that gap and start coming up with more ways to address crime as opposed to dealing with crime after it happens. Let's start being more preventative.
Now we have a question
Can I
from co-founder Reggie Crawford.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Again, like I think Mr. Bell said, I don't apologize for anything, particularly being black, because I'm a retired Detroit police officer, 44 years in law enforcement. I don't call myself a police officer, I call myself a peace officer. You gotta know the difference. We only talk about policing, we talk about communities of color. It's policing. So I call myself a peace officer. I was there to keep the peace among our people. 44 years in 3 departments now, and I'm not going to talk about the history of that, but in living in the city. So before I was a police officer, I was black, I was that black, and I was an activist, okay, and I'm still one today. But in reference to facial recognition technology, and this is going to be real simple and easy. If it comes up again before you for a vote, we know it passed. Some of you, or a few, but then I hear, voted yes. If you voted yes, it's just a simple question. If it came up again, the facial recognition piece that was passed before the commission, how would you vote today if you're on the commission? Yes or no?
No.
No, each and every one of you stand up and just say, how would you vote today?
No.
Would you support facial recognition? And if you voted yes in the past, state that too.
Lavish T. Williams, and I'll vote no. It's just not fair. It's confusing between the black and the brown.
Okay.
So my answer is no.
Yes or no?
No. No, it's racist and misidentifies black faces 95% of the time. Wastes money. Landon Spencer.
No. Ortegas Jackson.
Tamara Smith, no.
Stephen Boyle, no.
Scotty Bowman, no.
It was not even on the ballot. We never voted yes or no on facial recognition. That was the matter between the council and the mayor. We, the board of commission, initiated policy on after the fact. So let's set the record straight.
Did you support it or not? Yes or no?
Make it clear.
Did you support it?
On policy. I support
On
policy. Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, that's a yes. I'm sorry. Me personally, I don't know enough about facial recognition, so if I get taught it and I learn it, I can make a conscientious decision upon it.
Okay, there's a lot of research out there, sir. I suggest you do so.
I wasn't on the board either when the board voted with respect to facial recognition. What Commissioner Bell said is true. It was done by the mayor and by the city council. My personal position, Mr. Crawford, would be no. But, ladies and gentlemen, facial recognition is used by Walmart, Rite Aid, has been for 10 years, the FBI. It doesn't really, let me just finish, There are 2,700 police officers in the city of Detroit, 800 civilian employees. Whether or not they use it or not, the sheriff's office, every other law enforcement agency in the country is using it. So the question is, how do you, and I think your point was, how do you control it? Because there's really, every time you walk out the door, it exists. That's the only point. So I'm just saying, but the answer is no, I would not. I am concerned about it. But I also recognize, that's like saying, I can't do anything. I can do something about speed traps. Speed traps exist. You know, it is what it is.
Mr. Burton.
Yes, sir. So, yes, I have something to say. Do not let the people tap dance with words, those that's sitting right here on this panel. Number two, I have put out there countless motions to ban facial recognition and been shut down by past chair Willie Bell and Lisa Carter. Next thing I want to say is this. You got the United Nations is talking about putting a halt to facial recognition, pulling a plug. You got San Francisco, pull the plug. Oakland, Berkeley, Massachusetts. Why is the America's blackest, poorest city is still using facial recognition? The Detroit Police Department was using this technology 2 years before they came to the full board. That was enough reason right there to pull the plug. My colleagues has shut me down, has muted me countless times in public meetings, virtually. And they sitting here insulting you today with this tap dancing with words. And in Detroit, we are fed up with those that's getting money from Mike Duggan for our future, or future, change for future, whatever the name of the political PAC is. And these toying entities buying politicians every damn day. They give them chicken dinners, baseball tickets, sporting arenas and tickets, and tell them what a good job that they're doing when they selling us out with a whole bunch of bullshit.
Thank you. You done?
On that note,
and I'm bringing my motion up to ban facial recognition at the next board meeting.
On that note, for those who want to know, I'm sure most of you do know, but we've had it since the 60s. And what I mean by that, in our community, the news media, and they used to call them suspects. If they had a picture of a suspect, today they changed the terminology to a person of interest. Still the same. Right. Word game. What they do is put you on the 6 o'clock news, the 11 o'clock news, your picture, and we had a 99 to 100% identification. That's right. Because people in the community were connected to the community and the police, and they didn't want certain people in the community if they had allegedly committed a crime. And there would be that identification because they would call up the police department, hey, I know who this is. You got his picture on TV. So this racist facial technology they have today that misidentifies us, that's what we're talking about. Well, I'm just saying, there is a mechanism been in place for 40, 50 years now.
Does she have a question?
Okay.
I do. I have a question.
Okay.
And this is for those that are running positions. Because it seems like every time someone sits in that seat, they are being appointed by the mayor.
Yes.
To me, they are not really for us. You know, I live across Livernois. I'm the little people. You know, the other side is the big shot people. You know, like Miss Linda, you saying University District.
All the districts that are in our community. I was raised on Lawton and Finkel. That's I went to St. Gregory High School.
Where you live at now? You saying
I live on Wildermere now, 5 houses from a liquor store on 6 Mile.
I'm just asking a question.
I just answered the question. 5 houses from a liquor store.
But I'm the little people. But it seemed like they never for us. You know, I never met Miss Bernard because it's all about sitting on the board. To me, board recognition. I don't see nobody out in the community. It don't stop there on the board. You have to be out in the community talking to us. You have to put on some blue jeans, gym shoes, and come out and talk to us. I'm from Blackstone Park Association. I've been working in the community ever since I was 15 years old because my grandparents raised me. But all this, you know, you have Lavish running. You have Miss Linda that's on the board right now. What about us? What about us? I mean, they was speeding down my street, and I swear to God, I knew they was gonna end up in my living room last night. What about us? Nobody is here to speak on our behalf. And I want to know what is gonna change. What is gonna change in District 2? Because I don't like living in District 2. I'm sick of Detroit. What is it gonna? What does it take? I don't want to hear that somebody is a lawyer. I don't want to hear that. To me, that's bull crap. I don't want to hear that somebody is a lawyer. I want to hear what they're gonna do for us in the community. You can say you a lawyer all day, but I want to know what you gonna do for us. Are you in District 2? If you're not, I'm talking about District 2. You can talk to me outside.
I'm Otagus Jackson. I'm a candidate for District 2, right in. What I want to say about District 2 and what we can do about District 2.
Can we respect the speakers, please? Okay. Can we respect the speakers, please?
There's a speaker up.
I do understand what you're saying about, well, what can we do about District 2? Well, District 2 is being worked on day by day by day. I'm over there in District 2 every single day through who I work for. I work for Ceasefire. When shootings happen over there in your neighborhood, that'd be me over there in your neighborhood. When that lady house got shot up over there by accident, that was me over there. That was me over there at that lady house, knocking on her door. Well, she didn't want to come home, but we was there. The teams that I work with, see, what it is that we always say, well, what are they going to do for us? What is they going to do for us? What city council, what the mayor? Hey, reality, we got to do for ourselves. See, you got to have those. That's when it comes back to the grassroots. It's the grassroots organizations like myself. You know what I'm saying? Like this sister right here who was out looking for stolen cars. You know what I'm saying? It takes us. It takes them grassroots organizations. They have a job to do downtown. That's where they at. You know what I'm saying? They feel comfortable sitting at that desk. That's where they do their job at. Not saying that's where they do their job at, but that's what they do. It's up to us to take care of our neighborhoods, our communities. We can't depend on the city. We can't depend on the mayor. We can't depend on that no more. Face recognition. Let me say this. Back when that first came out, I was like, yeah, let's do face recognition. I'm going to tell you why. Because it have caught people who have raped children, stole children, broken old ladies' houses, raped old ladies, got away with it. But guess what caught them? That face recognition. It wasn't the fact of them finding DNA. It was the fact of we need to see their face and we need to go get them. That was Detroit 300, the Marcus Garvey movement, Crime Stoppers, by way, all three I work for. So it takes us, it takes the community to get in our neighborhood to stop catching people from flying up and down the street over those speed bumps. It takes us.
Thank you.
It takes us. Thank you.
We need another question. Is there another question? This one right here. This one. Hold on.
My name is D from Grassroots Detroit. You from the Black Bottom area. Shane, 375, all of them there. My question is for the police commissioner. What are you guys planning on doing with bringing community and policing together? One of the problems that we have as a community leader, and I'm having an activist, is at the community, at the police station, they coming in, they going out. So you can never get a relationship with them because you got a commander 1 month, he gone the next month. You got all kind of officers coming in, so there's never where you can get a set set learning thing with it. And now, and my other thing is, we have a problem with, we have rookies riding with rookies. They don't know the laws of the land or the layout, and they're not from the community of neighborhoods. So my question is, what do you guys plan on doing about that to get the community and police to start learning one another and becoming I guess I can use the word friends. Our problem with the community and policing and all that, you don't know one another. So the tactics that the police use, and they are trained to be safe and protect themselves. But that's the same tactics that we teaching our children when they go out in the streets and get home safe. So we just need to know, what is y'all plan going to bring all that together?
Okay, with that question, I'm going down the line so everybody have, starting right here with Carl.
30 seconds, I got it, 30 seconds.
Typically, the Detroit Police Department set up what's called pre-academy things. I was a part of that during police cadets, reserves, chaplain corps. Those are entities that are supposed to be like the filler entities to get the community back into the police department. The police department needs more foot patrols so they can get to know their neighbors and things of that nature. The problem is there's not enough police officers. But that's what needs to happen. They need to have foot patrols, they need to be more friendly and engaging, and they need to know the community in which they live in, obviously, and train that way as well.
Thank you. 30 seconds, it don't work.
Oh,
So use your play voice.
Okay. Me, Lavish T. Williams. One of the things that I do right now with the 12th precinct that help between the community and the police, I do different events with Sergeant Bledsoe, the NPO at that precinct. And what I try to do, I try to talk to the citizens and understand their issues and their problems, and then I relate it back to the NPOs. Just 2 weeks ago, I did a backpack giveaway at the 12th precinct where I brought people from the community over to the police station to let them see that officers are friendly at times, and I'm working on bridging the gap between the citizens to make them feel comfortable, such as the event that I'm doing at the 12th precinct with the seniors for a movie night, trying to get the community to come back and feel comfortable with the police, as well as the police understanding the needs of the community.
Next.
Robert Olive. My thought on that is, I would like to see us be able to create a space where the officers once or twice a month or whatever is realistic for them to be able to even be paid to interact or on the clock while they're interacting with the people, not in uniform, but it'd be some training with the community. I think it should be some hours for officers to interact with the community on that level. I think that's going to help a lot.
Thank you. Next.
Yeah, my answer is that you have to rebuild trust, and you do that by going after the officers that have these terrible records, taking seriously the citizen complaint forms that people have. When they tell you that officers are saying racial slurs to them or sexually abusing them, take those seriously. We also need to stop going after these low-level drug crimes and these crimes of poverty and start going after the serious stuff like rapes, like murders. In the city of Detroit, if you're black, you are much less likely to have your murder solved than if you were white. So all these things, reprioritizing the more serious crimes is how we rebuild that trust.
Ortagus Jackson right in for District 2. Ortagus Jackson, O-R-T-A-G-U-S Jackson. And I guess at the end of the day, we have to build relationships between police, the DPD, and community. The only way we're going to do that is, like you say, walk the streets. You walk the streets. But right now, that's not going to happen because you know why? They feel unsafe, just like we feel unsafe, right? So there's going to come a time where we have to come together, community-based organizations, especially over there where you at, because y'all really based over there. That's how y'all go together to the police departments. Y'all actually speak to them up here downtown. You know, so you got to have a voice. You got to have a voice. You got to speak that voice. We have to talk to the people that we want to have a relationship with. I can help you do that, bro.
We got a relationship.
I know you do. I can help you do it. Okay. I can help you.
Thank you. Hi, Tamara Smith, community activist. I'm all over the city. I'm not just in District 1. We are the people who have the in-between, between you and the police. I agree. They need to stop hiring kids that are not in our areas, that know nothing about us, and that are afraid to go out on crime scenes because they are not familiar with being taught these type of things. They didn't grow up like that. We are the ones who shut the party store down on Puritan for the Chaldean man who beat a woman, who hurt her, but the police went there and didn't do anything. We shut it down. We went there. We put our boots on the ground.
Thank you.
Put this hair back and get up here and shut this store down. So I agree with you. They need to hire people to do the jobs that they were paid to do, not be afraid to do them.
Thank you. Next.
Okay, my name is Stephen Boyle. I think communication in this city is woefully inadequate. We have 33% of this city has a digital divide. That means all of this broadcasting on the internet, go to this internet site and all that, doesn't work for anybody that has that digital divide. We have to have newsletters that come out from each commissioner into their district. We have to create events where people get to know the laws that happen around them so that they can interact and understand how better to do the various things that they need to do in their neighborhood.
Thank you. Next.
If I run out of time, DetroitLivesMatter.org. What we could do, first of all, I'd like to echo the calls for having feet on the ground. You used to call it walking the beat. And the problem, though, is we do not have enough officers to do that. We need more of them. And by the way, if someone's afraid of doing that, hey, I knocked on every door in the 48205 part of District 4 alone, unescorted and unarmed. And so if armed police officers paired up are afraid to do that, then they probably got the wrong job.
Thank you. Next.
Willie Bell, I just want to speak for the victims in the city of Detroit. People want service, and they want the bottom line, can you catch the perpetrator? 2, our role is accountability of police officers. Simple as that. All this other debate is about service. Speak to the victim in the city of Detroit. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Ryan Ferguson, Ryan Ferguson, Ryan Ferguson. I'm running for District 1, Police Commissioner write-in. This is simple. When I was growing up, where I lived at, we had a cop on our block. They lived in the neighborhood. Why can't we bring something like that back? If you're going to live in a district and you're going to service a precinct, you got to live in that precinct. Give us 3 years here. If we can't convince you to stay here in 3 years, then you can go somewhere else. We got a bunch of houses owned by the land bank. Get a police officer in one of those houses. Why not? That's why I want to run, so I can bring some out-of-the-box thinking, so we can try to get some cops to live right here in the city of Detroit.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, Linda Bernard. I want to address your concern that you were stating, sir. Number one, the best way for us to get involved with the community is to do some things differently with community police officers. I'm disappointed in what's happening in the 12th precinct and the 8th precinct, both of which are in District 2, in terms of neighborhood policing. We can do far more. The chief has initiated that. What I'm doing personally is I conduct expungement hearings. Many black males in our community and women have felony and or misdemeanor convictions. They need a lawyer to go to court to help them with that. That's why being a lawyer may be important. But the point is that there's a lot that we can do in the community. I am open. Everyone.
Thank you.
My cell number is on my material. I only have one cell. You can reach me anytime. Text me. Let me know what's going on. I'm on it.
Thank you.
My community. And it has been for more than a year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A year. Next.
As a police commissioner that represents District 5, over the years I have tried to bring the police and the community together when we talk about mental health. In 1997, Governor John England has shut down 16 mental health hospitals right here in Michigan. So I have held town hall meetings with the 7th Precinct when Commander Hope at the time was a captain. And also worked closely with bringing our neighborhood police officers to be part of those meetings as well as community activists and social groups right here in the city of Detroit. I'm going to continue to do a little bit more of that in the upcoming year going forward. I also spoke up when...
Thank you. Thank you. It was 30 seconds. Thank you.
Willie Burton.
Willie Burton. City, that was for the police commissioner. Questions? Yeah, it was 30 seconds. That's the timekeeper.
I just said our community repertoire is stressed. We got all kind of chaotic things going on in the city and the country right what we need to do is come back to our city, respect our city, have the police move back into our city. All the people that live in the city, on the city council, all the people that work for our city should live in our city. We had a law, they abandoned, they overruled that law, it's no longer. We need to bring that law back.
Thank you. Thank you. You have a question for the commissioners? Okay, this will be the last question. This one now. As long as it's a commissioner question.
It's a commissioner question for sure.
Thank you.
I'm gonna stay on point.
Thank you.
All right. As you guys mentioned, you want to bring back foot patrols, and you know that there's not enough police officers. Also, you said that the police officers should live in the city. Well, when Dennis Archer was the mayor, he's the one that dismantled it, whereby and with the state reps and the governor, at that time, John Engler, that they could not or did not have to live in the city. What would you do to make sure that you could get to the state legislature to make them return solvency back to the police department in Detroit?
First of all, you have to get the unions involved because the union contract is so strong to make that happen, but it does start with the state. I could send you emails, Hodo, when that was on my radar when I was a commissioner the first time. But we wanted the state of Michigan to change the laws so that we can have freedom and opportunity for us to do what we need to do as a commission. Of course, that didn't happen. I think Tyrone Carter is currently sponsoring legislation to that effect of what you just talked about.
And do you support residents?
I want people to live here in the city.
This is a question for everybody.
I want people,
do you
police
support
officers to live in the city.
residents?
Yes.
Yes, I support.
Do you support residency?
Yes.
Do you support residency? Do you support residency? Do you support residency?
Strongly.
Do you support residency?
Yes, and to answer the other question, I also would say that in order to, and my answer is to work around the state on this, since I can't, as a commissioner on the board, have no more votes than you do to lobby your representatives in Lansing and your governor in Lansing to change the law. But what I would do meanwhile is I would...
Thank you.
And you'll have to look at my website to find my answer.
Yeah.
Resident is a dead issue. The bottom line is, if you don't vote in Detroit, you don't control the Senate, you don't control the House, therefore, you don't have any political clout. We've been raising that issue over 15 years about resident when we lost it under Mayor Dennis Archer and the governor at that time. So let's spend time and realistically dealing with the issue we have in the city of Detroit.
Next, do you support residency?
I support residency. What I want to know is why the state is letting them do it. Tell me why. Give me a reason why you're saying that they don't have to live in the city of Detroit. That's what I want.
Okay. Yes. Do you support residency?
I support residency. However, no public employee in the state of Michigan has to live in the city or the community that they're hired by. Whether you can work in Oakland County, live in Detroit. It doesn't matter if you work for the police department or any other department. There is no residency requirement, as you pointed out, in the state of Michigan. That's just the way it is. And they do that because they think that helps them, in fact, get the best talent in the region.
Thank you.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
Thank you. Next, do you support residency?
Born here and have lived here my whole life.
Thank you.
In District 2.
Next.
Absolutely. I support officers living right here in the city of Detroit. So I support residency, yes. What we as a Board of Police Commissioners can do, we can sponsor a resolution to go to the state on changing that law for officers to be able to live in the city. But you heard a lot of people here today spoke out on issues on residency as well as facial recognition. I'm going to put a motion together at the next board meeting on for the board to create a resolution to go to the state on residency as well as
Thank you.
on facial recognition.
Thank you. We have another question. Thank you. Thank you. We have another question. Thank you. And our last question from this citizen. Louder so they can hear you.
I know everybody needs insurance to drive a car, but on 7 Mile and Gratiot through Hayes, cops just there taking people's cars if they look suspicious. They waste another 45 minutes waiting for a tow truck when they can be actually doing real crime work. That's what you need to put on the board.
So do you have a question for the commissioners?
Yeah, when they gonna do it?
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so his question was, there's a trap on 8 Mile that the Detroit police officers are taking citizens' cars, whether they're driving illegally with the proper license plates or not. His question is, what could the commissioners do about it? That was his question. Oh, 7 in Gratiot.
Number one, and at the meeting on Thursday, we can request a report on the stops in that area, find out what people are being stopped for, why those vehicles are being taken. If they're being taken, they're usually taken for one of two reasons. Either you don't have a license or you don't have a license tag. You can be arrested at that point, obviously, for not having a legal license. Many people have a suspended license. When you're stopped, the car is confiscated at that point. But you get it back. It's impounded, but you can get it back.
Thank you. Thank you. So I am going to be wrapping this up. So I'm going to turn the meeting over to Theo Broughton. Hold on. Can you hold on? Respect. Hold on.
I barely talk.
Hold on. Hold on. Theo Broughton, who is the founder, co-founder with Reggie, will finish this off. And for those of you who didn't talk, if they don't get to you, you can hang around and the citizens can ask you their questions that they may not feel comfortable standing up and ask. Because we didn't want this to be a swing set going back and forth. The citizens came to get an answer, and we want to respect everybody's time here. And thank you for being here. I thank you, the candidates. I thank all of the citizens and the voters. These are voters here. And what we don't want is to be combative. We want to ask questions, we want to hear answers, and we want to respect the time that the timekeeper has given. So I thank you. My name is Michelle Broughton, and I'm turning it over to Theo Broughton and Reggie Crawford. Thank you.
Thank you for your patience this afternoon. Now, the last question and conversation was going on about the police, about the traps, about towing. I personally think that there's a money laundering scheme going on. Everybody that's in this room, if you know of someone who had their vehicle towed and they were told to go to some nondescript location like a raggedy torn down gas station, they go in, they're told the cost is $400 or $500. Okay? Here's my credit card. We only take cash. If they only take cash, that's a red flag. For everybody who is in here who knows of someone, if you would share that information with me, their names and numbers, or give them mine, whichever. It seems to be a money laundering scheme. The towing, interestingly enough, was taken over by the city, by the police department. I believe, was it, Reggie, 2018 or so? Now that this is coming up, they want to turn it over to the procurement or some private individual so they won't be connected to it. During that time, there was something interesting. The person who is the chief of police was on the police force when that happened. There was a person who was the deputy mayor. It just gets more interesting as you connect the dots. Conrad Mallett was deputy mayor for Kwame Kilpatrick. Conrad Mallett is currently deputy mayor for the mayor that we have in charge right now. When you start connecting dots, it just really starts to get interesting. The FBI representative said that they had gone into the homes of 2 council members, Janae Ayers and Scott Benson, and into the homes of their chiefs of staff, had also gone into their office and stood outside on 2nd Woodward Avenue, the corner of Jefferson, and the man said, we should not have corruption in our community. He never said that towing was a part of the issue. It seems that nonprofits are their problem. So why would the mayor come out and start talking about towing being an issue? Something to think about. If you would please give me the names and numbers of the person's name and numbers who have been charged and told they must pay cash so we can address it. Co-founder Reggie Crawford has something to say as well.
Yes, I just want to, I guess you say, clarify or bring the truth to some things here. When we talk about the abolishment of residency, and I asked the question, would you support bringing back residency? That's exactly what I meant. Because in 1999, I drove to Lansing twice on my own as a Detroit police officer. Took the day off with residency when we were fighting against the abolishment of residency in Lansing. People came busloads from all across Michigan. They wanted to abolish residency, police officers and firefighters. And on the third trip, it was then Deputy Chief Benny Napoleon. He heard about our track, or really my track and our track to Lansing a few times. Gave us a city car and said we could go on duty to sit at the opposite side of the table and fight for the citizens in this city to maintain residency. In that car was myself, Lieutenant Roosevelt Lawrence, Police Officer Baron Coleman, who's still on the job today, and Delbert Jennings. Now what happened in 99 when we lost that fight, they abolished residency in 99. 2 years from the abolishment of residency, a think tank out of Lansing did a study on the economic impact on the city of Detroit because it abolished residency for all city employees, firefighters, and police, for every city in the state. That economic impact was $200 to $300 million in lost tax revenues, everything else that the police want to whine about getting laid off. Okay? So, and equipment and benefits and all this other stuff, $200 million. Multiply that by 20 years, $2 billion in lost tax and revenue. So when folks across the country stand up and say, yeah, we need to defund the police, that don't mean take the police out of the community and lay them off and all this stuff. But there are some things that the commissioners can look at, whomever the ones are reelected, maybe selected by the mayor, whatever you want to call it, can look at in the police budget, because we as citizens, $300 million a year budget, who's funding the police? We are, the taxpayers. That's our money. We got a right to know what's in that budget. And there's one thing that they take out the budget, facial recognition technology. Was it $3 to $5 million a year? That's one. Two is, years ago, Joanne Watson, I'm sorry, the Honorable Queen Mother Joanne Watson was on city council many years ago, and Sharon McPhail, even goes back beyond that, because I went to then the police commission and talked about this. They have a drug forfeiture fund. Years ago, I think it was like 10 million, and I don't know, maybe it's 5.
1.5 million now.
How much, ma'am?
1.5 million.
1.5 million. Okay, so the police take the drugs off the street, okay? They're supposed to turn them in. Sometimes they put the money in the drugs, back on the street, put the money in their pocket. Oh, we're going to talk real here. But what I talked about was, and now it's 1.5 million. So that forfeiture money, 1.5, y'all keep the 0.5. Take the 1 million, put it back in the community to treat the addicts. That's right. Rehabilitate the addicts. Give them a place to stay, educate them, and help them get a job. So they become productive citizens in this city. Defunding the police. You look at that budget. They don't want you looking at the budget. There's not a police chief in this country or a sheriff in this country who wants you to look at their budget and tell you how to spend the money. Those are two areas. Now, there might be a couple other places in that budget too, but that's what we talk about. So when these folks start talking about, oh no, I'm not for defunding the police, it's who funds the police? And you've been defunded by the police by the tune of $2 billion. They don't live in your city. Not paying taxes. No property taxes, no income tax. So we talk about that. So you need a police commission, which is civilian oversight. But you damn sure don't need them out of sight. That's what I'm talking about. We talk about activism. Some were activists. Myself, I have to say Ricardo Moore. Definitely today, Willie Burton. Willie Bell. True. Activism. But you look at the activism and its impact. I went from protest to policy on that commission. Looked at all the policy, and policy's about change. But the protest is definitely too in the streets. So that's all I have to say about this.
All right. Do it differently. I want you all to know you should say no justice, no profit.
There you go. You got to change
Get some in the pocket.
You start impacting the money.
No justice, no profit. It hits them in the pocket. That's what you remember. I want you all to consider joining Hood Research. It's just $20 a year. It's $300 lifetime. But think about what we do, how long we have been in existence. Next year's 30 years. So we look forward to you joining us. And Victor, you want a last word?
Yes, I would like the last word of this commission. My name is Victor Gibson. I'm a teacher, Detroit Public Schools. You all keep looking at this, still in the box. You know, some of you all are saying you're out the box. We're talking about policing our children. I've not heard anything about here in this today that said anything about stopping our children from getting into the police network in the first place. Right. I haven't heard any one of you say, you all coming up with chemotherapy kind of ideology when it comes to stopping the crime. We must learn to heal our children. We must learn to go back and teach our children what respect, what a law is.
Say it.
An unjust law is no damn law at all. So we got to start looking at this from the opposite end. We taught our children here in Detroit. Detroit, 1997, Detroit school test scores soared. We out the box. And since that time, you let them come in, take over our schools for nothing, drive us back, and take away our ability to educate our people, not just our children, but our elders too. That's right. You all have forgotten the idea of struggle. It's not about getting a job. It's not about imprisoning mental health. How is a black people living in a polluted ideology called the United States of America, how in the hell are we supposed to be able to blossom in polluted soil? If you're going to address the criminality, address it from the very root of the problem. Our children are doing these things. You all don't want to look at it. And the last word I say, if I hear one more person say, kids these days. If I hear that one more time, I might cuss you out too. It's not kids these days. It's adults these days. They're raising, we're raising. And by God, if you all keep playing this game about what education is and who needs to do it, I don't need police officers, I need school teachers. I need somebody to come in and help me heal our children. We don't have to worry about too much policing if we heal our people. You all quit playing like you're brand damn new. And I mean that. Now we came up here answers, but damn we came here to give something. And you all quit playing this back and forth swing set. I'm on the man's side, I'm on the people. Cut that out, ain't but one side.
Say it again.
One side.
Say it again.
Now I'll leave you with this, because I'm so tired. There are only two kind of black people in America. Africans and Afrikaners. They can't understand it. They can't remember it. They can't learn it. They can't believe in it. Those are what you got to worry about. Now, if you don't put conscious people on everything, fire department, hospital, you don't put conscious people there, then all this stuff y'all doing,
it don't matter.
Don't matter. Don't mean, I'm sorry, Mr. Bill, I didn't mean to say that.
That's okay. It's only 2 people running for mayor in the city of Detroit. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the one who can was here with us this afternoon. There's Jerome Shell. Are you here somewhere? Okay. You had an announcement?
Brief.
Hello?
He's coming. He's coming.
Okay. Well, while he's coming, we need to have the Blue Pigs. They don't have to be called that anymore. And a young man by the name of Brian Fountain, who may have retired by now, was a police officer. I don't think he's here. He was a magician. He would go around to the schools and meet the young kids, build a relationship. So did the Blue Pigs. You can thank McKinnon for disbanding that. It doesn't have to be that style, but young people are also impressed with entertainment, with music, with songs, and they need to have something else that is positive in their life. And someone talked about our young people getting to know, and the adults as well, getting to know the police officers. As a matter of fact, the mayor said he has some money to hire some, so we got to start encouraging people to join it. Go ahead, Jerome Shell.
My name is Jerome Shell.
You got to speak up louder than that.
Is the mic on?
It's your outdoor voice. It's outdoor.
Okay. Well, I didn't want to take my mask off because I'm fully vaccinated.
Fine, but take it off on speak and put it back on.
I'm fully vaccinated, but I want to remind everybody that the virus only protects you once you get.
You got to speak about your issue.
Okay. Well, let me speak about my issues. Let me speak up. Okay, I'm going to take the mask off. I didn't want to, but I'll take the mask off. Only because of the virus.
This old lady appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Jerome Shell. I am a member of the National Action Network. My platform is called Black Lives Have Value. And I represent the streets of the United States of America. And basically, what we do is we just want everybody to be on the same page. We want everybody to know that history has been written. I recently ran into a historian, and I was shocked. And just a little brief about myself. In 1974, my father was killed in a robbery. He owned coin laundries. He also serviced commercial equipment all around the state of Michigan. He reminded me of Elijah McCoy. I recently found out through a historian just in the past few weeks that my father was not killed in a robbery. He was assassinated because of what he did all over the state. But I'm not going to bore you with that. What we want to do is we want to make sure that everybody just knows who you are, know your story, know who you are. Now, I've heard everybody here talk about who's on the board with the mayor, who's facial recognition, all of this. But I haven't heard much on crime prevention. Somebody mentioned about somebody who used to be in the neighborhoods, how policing used to be, public service announcements. Everybody's heard the commercials that in public service announcements about recycling, about trash, and you hear all the voices of all the children saying what they want to grow up to be. They want to grow up to be a park bench. They want to grow up to be a truck in recycling, but we don't recycle our people. Crime prevention programs are important. Facial recognition is not a crime prevention program. The Green Light program is not a crime prevention program. The one thing that we got to remember is most of the decisions made about us is made with rumors. The young lady that was hollering taser, 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 for a split second, she spreaded a rumor for a split second. All the officers paused for a split second, but it turned out to be a lie. She had a gun in her hand. The young man that was jogging down in Georgia, those weren't police officers, those were people. He was killed because of a rumor. We got to know the truth. We got to dispel all the rumors. We have to know our story. And everybody from all communities, take this back home. Everybody's got cell phones. Go and know your history. Know who you are. We talk about critical race theory. We don't need to talk about that. That's just a ploy. That's not even a 1 through 12 course. That's a law school course. They're masking the reason that they're talking about it. They're only talking about it because they don't want anybody who's going to be part of that body to know about your history, so they will say no on reparations. We need to know our story. We need to know who we are.
Theo, before we
Thank
we
you.
have a representative from
Thank you
Ray
for
Washington's
being
office,
with us.
the sheriff, Mr. Williams, Keith Williams is in the room. Just wanted to make sure we knew that.
Sure.
Right.
Keith Williams? I thought he left.
Well, I just want to say this, just one quick second. Know who you are. Know history. Know our story. And most of all, know my story. And if you don't, you better ask somebody. Know your history or you're doomed to repeat it.
Thank you. Gary, Keith Williams over there with you?
He's coming. He's walking up.
Oh.
Just acknowledge your office.
Yeah.
Let them know we got some friendly sheriffs.
And you hiring.
All right, Keith. All right, Keith.
I love Reggie Crawford. That's my man.
That's right. Love Reggie Crawford.
Yeah.
You might tell him I'm the president of the sheriff.
Yeah, the president of the sheriff union too.
Right.
I represent Ray Washington, the new sheriff, and I'm the director of recruiting. I go into the high schools. I'm in the community. We got to have each other working together. Okay, I know we got some bad this, we got some bad that, but the most important thing, people want to be safe. We're running a special operation in the precincts right now. Speeding, drug houses, doing everything that we can to help DPD. And you ought to see the people that come out and talk to us about they're happy to see us. So when you start talking that craziness about defunding the police and all that other stuff, we need to be in a rehabilitation standpoint from how we work together, how we love each other. I'm just, like today, I was talking to an elected official about reparations. So I asked him, I said, "You're gonna give me your support?" And he says, "Send me a letter." And I looked at him, I said, "The word reparation, do you understand what the word reparation means?" I said, "You are elected by us, 85% black city, and you don't know your history and know what reparations is all about." So all I'm saying is this: I'm tired of coming to meetings, we're hollering at each other, we arguing at each other instead of loving each other and trying to figure out how we can solve the problems of African Americans.
Yes. All right.
In the last 4 days, I just found my history about my family. Everything was a secret, but Ancestry.com told me some truths, and I just wondered how my grandfather had to leave Cordell, Georgia, because they was gonna kill him. I done heard many stories like that from Cordell, Georgia. I done heard stories about lynching. I done heard all of that stuff. Now what do we do to solve the problem? The past is the past and the future's in front of us. And what do we do about it? We gotta correct this. We gotta elect people who have ideologies and how we feel about our communities. I'm sick and tired of people running for office with not a plan, don't know how to get a plan. All they want to do is get elected to office.
And I'm going to leave you with this. I played high school football at Henry Ford. And I was never left the Homer Street only to go to high school, Henry Ford. But I made the football team. And so one game, we had a game up in Bay City. They had a team called Bay City Central. I get down this road, there's a bunch of riding down this road, and I seen the stadium. I said, damn, look at all these lights. I said, I never seen a stadium like this. So I get into the locker room. Anybody play football know you put your little glare on the eyes. I go in the locker room, come back and go through drills. I couldn't catch the ball because I couldn't see the football. And so this would happen. So they got up on us by 21 points. All this was, this was all set up. But when the coach came into the locker room, he said this. He said, instead of y'all being in the playbook, y'all got caught up in the lights. Black folks, stop getting caught up in the lights and let's get back to the fundamentals.
That's right.
How we treat each other, how we help each other, how we love each other, and how we can move each other in the right direction. And I'm just telling you, I'm just tired of hearing this squabble all the time. Different groups hate you. We're all black. What's the problem? Slave got you that bad that you can't control your feelings? It's bigger than that, folks. It's bigger than that. We got to get back to loving each other. Coleman Young is turning over in his grave right now because all this stuff, we don't control our destiny. They're controlling us. We're bigger than that. God bless everybody.
Thank you. Okay.
My recruitment number, you can call me at 313-657-8962. We got jobs in the, we got a new facility coming. I'd rather see more schools than a brand new jail, but you got some bad folks out here that need to be incarcerated, okay? But 313-657-8962.
That's why I called.
God be the glory.
All right. Now you want to talk about a black man with conscience. Hear my voice where you are. Take a train, drive a car, hop a freight or grab a star. Vote for Adams. From the hill to the shore, rise the wind to the voting door. Turn the highway to dust. Change the law if you must. Rule the world only first. Vote for Adams.
Right.
Anthony Adams. Anthony Adams. Oh, thank you to thank you to all of the candidates. That's my commercial for being here this afternoon. We really appreciate your participation. And I'm sure that you smell the wonderful refreshments that have been prepared for your enjoyment. We want you to take part if you choose. Thank you.
Okay, thank everyone from the community for participating in this candidates forum for police commissioners. And all the commissioners, candidates that showed up.
Yes.
Thank you.
And for anybody who is a night owl or wanna be, you can join me Sunday night at 11 p.m. on 910 AM radio. What's your question?
Last week, I just wanted to know if anybody knew about this. This is history.
No.
Last week, the mayor did one move that took away from 70 to 80% of your generational wealth. I want to know if anybody knew about that.
What was it? What was it?
Last week,
what?
Last week, the mayor did one move took away from.
Did what? Did what?
Step over
Did
and tell us
what?
what?